in search of sanity. Grateful Rising. The IQ test. Intelligence test. IQ. Ready, aim, and fire. The IQ test was first given in 1904 by Alfred. Alfred created the IQ levels and tests for the French government to test children's abilities in school. Through the years, the IQ test has evolved and has been used to test the intelligence of people. Ready. IQ, intelligence quotient. Intelligence quotient is said to be a number used to express the relative intelligence of a person. Intelligence is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Remember this phrase, the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. It plays a major role in this podcast. I first heard of an IQ test when I was in elementary school. It was a far-off notion in my mind, much like the moon landing. I heard ribbons of IQ testing mentioned as I grew into adulthood. I had my first up-close and personal experience with the IQ test in 1980 when I worked at a rehabilitation center. Since then, I've given many IQ tests, and I've taken a few IQ tests. When I first started giving IQ tests, I remember thinking, the concept of testing someone's intelligence has to be the most unintelligent thing topside of creation. Consider this. An IQ test tests someone based on what someone else knows or pretends to know. The person who supposedly knows something will say that the person is less intelligent because they don't know what that person knows, or if they know it, they can't relay the information they know in a way you say they should. You see how unintelligent that just sounded? That's how unintelligent the concept of testing someone's intelligence is. You see that? See how intelligent that sounds? I know. That's the most unintelligent concept you've heard, right? Aim. Intelligence is a social construct. Therefore, an IQ test is a social construct. Social construction is a theory that suggests that human interaction and society agreements shape reality and knowledge. A social construct is something that is made real through convention or collective agreement, and it exists as a result of people agreeing that it does. Based on this, I guess the social construct of an IQ test doesn't exist because I don't agree that it does. But isn't that what it says, though? It exists as a result of people agreeing that it does. As I said, the concept of an intelligence test is the most unintelligent concept this side of creation. Think about it for a minute. I'm a radiologist and you are an EKGist. We're both tested on radiology. Who's going to fare better? Me, the radiologist, or you, the EKGist? Or we're both tested on EKG. Who's going to do better? Me, the radiologist, or you, the EKGist? It doesn't take a high IQ to know the answer to both questions. Both a radiologist and an EKGist have a general focus, but an EKG specializes in areas such as stress testing and Holter monitoring, and a radiologist focuses on MRI and ultrasound imaging. 5. I remember black men from back in the 60s when I was a little girl. I went from age 3 to 13 in the 60s. That means some of the black men back then were anywhere from their 20s to their 80s. Some of the black men could build anything and everything. They could walk into an area and walk out without measuring any tools, and they'd tell you how much material you would need right down to the nail. Once you purchase the material, there'd be no need to go back for anything. After the black men finished the structure, there wouldn't be anything left over. By the same token, they never had to go back for any more material, just like there was no material left over. These black men never went to school for any of this, but they knew Pythagorean theorem. They knew about the 3, 4, 5 triangle. These black men never went to school for it, but they knew that the squared value of the hypotenuse of the right triangle is equal to the sum of the squared value of the other two sides. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. These black men didn't go to school for this. These black men, many of who never set foot in a school. Many went to school, but never went past elementary school, yet they knew trigonometry. How did these black men know about trigonometry or the Pythagorean theory if school is where you become intelligent? These black men weren't fluent in reading. Some of these black men couldn't read at all, but these black men knew the information. These black men may not have known what the words mean, But these black men knew the action of the word. If these black men had been given a written test on this information, they wouldn't have passed it. But did that mean they didn't know the information? There's a 99 and 44th 100% chance that the person who put the test together or the person administering the test can't even put a nail through a board without bending it. And they couldn't get an accurate measurement even with a measuring device. My daddy didn't even complete second grade. Daddy was one of the finest farmers in Middle Georgia. In fact, if he was measured against farmers the world over, Daddy'd be in the top tier. Despite lacking in formal education, these are some of the things Daddy was able to do through his vast and wide knowledge. Daddy knew that if he tilled the soil, that it would help crops grow. Daddy knew that tilling helped air, water, and nutrients go down into the dirt. Tilling also removes weeds and debris and prevent the dirt from getting too tight. Daddy knew soil cultivation. Keep in mind, Daddy didn't even finish second grade. Let me tell you some other stuff my second grade dropout daddy knew. Soil and water conservation, crop rotation, pest control. Daddy knew exactly how many drops, I think it was kerosene, it was something, but he knew how many drops to put in a bushel of beans or peas, and it would kill every weevil in that basket without harming the bean. Daddy knew chemistry. Daddy was a veterinarian. I can go on and on about the math on the farm, properties, proportion, acreage, measurements. In part 2 of the IQ test, I go into more details. I'll also talk about the science of farming. So my daddy was a scientist. I'll talk about the mechanics of farming. My daddy was a mechanic. I also highlight the shade tree mechanic. Tell me again about your IQ test. Listen to what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, and tell me your thoughts in the comments.
110 years ago, some folks invented this exam that tested certain ways you can rotate objects in 3 dimensions, and they should have called it sort of a cognitive test. Okay. But they didn't. They called it an intelligence test. They grabbed the word intelligence and attached it to this test. And then everyone thinks that this test is the measure of your intelligence. It's a measure of the thing you do for that test. Okay. That's what that is. I'm not going to deny that. But now you're going to say your intelligence and then use that as proxy for anything else you might do in life? That is criminal with regard to true ambition that exists in this world.
Subscribe, comment, like, and share. Support our youth in any way you can. Keep on churning till the butter comes. Albert C. Richardson, a black man, patent the butter churn U.S. patent number 446470, February 17th, 1891. I'm LilyBell. I'm just trying to create a dialogue. I leave you with this. If they close my book, you remember my story. Unintelligent man, you devised a bogus test. Why did you do it? A Nat Turner Runner production. Lock and load. LilyBell. Be encouraged.